You are now watching the Amazing Mets pregame show with your hosts, Rob and CP.
Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets!
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome to the Amazing Mets pregame show with my boy CP and the special guest today, Sunny Days in Flushing. We got Matt here to join us today to talk a little Mets baseball and the road trip that the Mets just had. 4-2 road trip, beat down of Atlanta, and now we come back home to face the Royals for a 3-game set. And of course, we place the Pirates as well. But let's say what up to everybody. CP, Matt, how you doing, guys?
Boys, thank you for having me. Much appreciated. Done quite a bit of shows with Chris. First time here with you, Rob, and great to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Chris, what's up, buddy?
Rob, it's always a pleasure. Happy to see my boy Matt on here. Guys, this is like a special pregame show. It's Friday night, fresh series, fresh off of 2 series wins, one against Atlanta. Everybody in the chat, I hope you all are hyped. I'm ready. I'm hyped for some baseball right now, and I got just this immense feeling pumping through my veins right now, and that is Mets baseball. I know we're 5-7 in the season, but the momentum, you can just feel it kind of swinging. I really hope the Mets take that into tonight, and we'll talk about it. But it's a great time to be a Mets fan, especially going down and putting a beat down on Atlanta, like you said.
Absolutely. The best thing about the series just in Atlanta was not just that they won the game. Obviously, that's important, but it's the way they won the games, the resilience. Where me and Chris talked about it, God knows how many times over the last week or two since the season started, was we wanted to see when this team got punched in the mouth, can they get back up and punch back? Well, they clearly punched back. They won that nail biter first game. Yes, they lost the second game, but the comeback almost happened, and we saw them fight back. And then we know what happened yesterday when they beat down the Braves 16-4. And Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this. And I wonder if we have the same thought process with that. It wasn't just the winning that was exciting, because that's the most important part. But what did you want to see, and what did you see with this Mets team when you were watching that series against the Braves?
So what was so great about this? So it's supposed to be a 4-game series. We all know Game 3 gets rained out. There's nothing we could do about that, right? That's Mother Nature, and the Braves being pussies because they don't want to play in a little light drizzle. But that's not my problem. That's their fucking problem. It now becomes a 3-game series, and you take 2 out of 3 in a park that has given you fits since it's been built. The Mets have done shit in the city of Atlanta for years, and they come down against the team with probably, I didn't look at their batting average. I know they had the number 1 OPS in the league up to that point, and you smack them around. And like you said, Rob, they come in game 2 and they lose by 1 run. They almost tie it up in the 9th. So the fact that they were able to win game 1 without Edwin Diaz, without Ottavino, without a lot of these guys, I don't even think Brooks Raley pitched in game 1. So without their horses in the pen, they were able to win game 1. So it was a sandwich series. They took the bookends. That's what you want to look for, and that is a real confidence boost, right? So now we know April baseball, right? You want to come out of April 500 or better, right? We know that April baseball is sloppy. It's not indicative of the entire season, but to go down to, and thank God we went down and played them in April. I would so much rather do it then than have to go down in the middle of July and then go down again in September. Fuck that. It's like playing the Kansas City Chiefs in football. My Lions, I wanted them week 1. I didn't want to see them in December with their division on the line or a playoff spot at this point. I wanted to see them week 1 where they're going to make mistakes. Same thing here with Atlanta. We beat the shit out of them, especially that last game. That was awesome. Fuck that fan base. Fuck all of them. I can't stand Atlanta. So beating them feels better than beating the Yankees, feels better than beating the Phillies. Anybody else, fuck Atlanta. That was great. And that's a great Atlanta lineup they have and a great pitching staff they've got. So that's a great litmus test. It sucks to see Spencer Strider go down. As much as I hate Atlanta, I don't ever want to see guys get hurt. And it is genuinely an epidemic in baseball right now with these pitchers going down, elbow and shoulder injuries. We're dealing with it right now at Senga, going to the 60-day IL. That sucks, but this is a motor that's got to keep going. And the Mets have proven that. They have done all they started out 0-5 and they are now 5-7. So to me, that's fantastic.
Absolutely. And you know what? Gary Cohen said it best. That place has been a house of horrors for years with the Mets. Even in 2022, where we kind of held our own, it was still ended up being a house of horrors at the end of the year when we lost the division. Chris, let me get your thoughts when it comes to this Atlanta series, because it was a lot of fun. I mean, we deserved to sweep that series, at least the 3-game set out of the 4, one with the rain out. What were your thoughts after the series? I know you were pumped. Everybody was pumped on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it. Let me know your thoughts in that Brave series. And what did you like to see the most from that team that they actually showed you in Atlanta?
Yeah, man. Rob, I've been out of town, so I just got back in town. I was on the way up when the Mets were smacking the Braves around 16-4. Heard and saw Luis Guillorme get on the mound. Talk about a full circle moment for the Braves and Luis Guillorme. Respect his time on the Mets, but that was just like indicative of how huge and how like well this series went for the New York Mets. Listen, the bats came around. I've been sort of waiting for the bats. We've been all waiting for the bats to come around. We were like, okay, Cincinnati Hitters Ballpark. Well, guess what? On the video that I dropped today, going over a brief synopsis of the last 2 series, the bats really didn't come around like I really had hoped in that Cincinnati series. The starting pitching really, held their own. And Jose Quintana, Sean Manaea, and Luis Severino. And I was sort of still waiting for those bats to come around. The Brandon Nimmo game in the 8-7 win, 2 home runs. DJ Stewart providing 2 home runs in the series as well. I know he's only batting a $105 still, 105 on the season. We'll see like how long of a leash the Mets give DJ Stewart, but it's good to see him knock a couple balls over the fence in the series. Starling Marte getting 2 hits at the end of the series there in that 16-4 win. Brett Beatty, can we talk about Brett Beatty consistently playing lights out offensively and defensively? Guys, listen, this team, I've said it on the video that I dropped there today. If you missed it, go check it out right before the game time. But like I said, this is only the tip of the iceberg that we're going to see from this Mets team. Not everyone is still gelling. Like, not everyone is at the top of their game at the same time right now. We're still waiting for Francisco Lindor's bat to come around. Pete Alonso getting a little sluggish with the bat, too. We need him to step it up. When everybody in this lineup starts to gel, then we're going to see true 2024 New York Mets baseball with these new expectations. But this is like you said, the litmus test with these 2 series, especially the Atlanta series, Matt. This is something you build off of if you're the New York Mets. This is something you go into Friday night, blackout Friday night, right, with your sexy uniforms, whatever, in front of the home crowd, and you go and rip the Kansas City Royals a new one. And you just prove to everyone that 0-5 start, that 1-5 start heading into Cincinnati was not the same New York Mets as you're going to face right now. So I love the way this team is vibing. I love to see Brett Beatty every single time he makes a defensive play, waiting for Francisco Lindor. They're getting hyped together on the left side of the infield. This, like, the camaraderie, Rob. We talked about it so much this offseason. It truly seems like the guys are now settling into their own and having fun. Listen, I'm going to tone it back just a little bit here because I am hyped, and I'm really hyped to see what tonight's going to bring for us. But it's only 12 games in. But just the process, I'm starting to see things that this team can build off of, and that's absolutely huge for momentum's sake. So I love it. Bats came around. Continue to hit the ball. Continue to get into the opposing team's bullpen, and this team will be just fine. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and everybody said it great here. Like, it was important, even though Atlanta is kind of down right now. They have a lot of injuries, and I said it prior to the series, they're the most vulnerable right now, and you got to take advantage of those W's right now, because if you don't, when you face them later in the year, when they're probably more healthy and a full engine moving, it's going to have a hard time. You got to get those wins now, especially with a team that's on the fringe of probably low 80s type win team. That's probably a possible wild card team, you have to take advantage of it, and the Mets did. But I love the way they played. You talked about Brett Beatty, who's just shown all types of emotion and confidence. Like when he made that leaping catch yesterday, you saw how he turned, looked to Lindor, like he was like, "Yeah, bitch, I got it." Like that's his emotion right now. And you know what? The confidence wasn't there ever since he came up 2 years ago. We know the problems he was having, but not only he's doing it with the bat, the glove is outstanding right now, and it clearly is all about confidence with him. The talent's there. If the confidence continues with the performance, I mean, we got out third baseman for the next 10 years, everybody, and that even makes it even easier for the Mets going later on in the offseason when you got to look for certain other things and you don't have to worry about third base. So, Matt, I'm going to get to you with today. Michael Walker's on the mound tonight. The guy is still pitching at probably, what is he, 41 years old now? He's another one. He's probably a player of House of Horrors. We know how Michael Walker has done damage to this Mets team over the years. You know, he was a part of the Mets for a very, very little bit of time. But what do you want to see from this Mets team going back home with a little bit of momentum with the 4-2 road trip? Because this is a good young Royals team. What do you want to see? Do you want to see the pitching pick it up since the offense has done its job? Or what is the X factor in this series against the Royals?
Well, playing the Royals, I guess it's kind of a pick your poison when it comes to anything anti-Mets, right? Because you were either going to see Michael Walker or Seth Lugo. So I don't know who you'd rather see. Right now, they're both pitching really well. This Royals team has looked really well. So I would like to see, as you guys kind of alluded to before, I'd like to see the momentum continue. I'd like to see, I mean, listen, you know, if Marte keeps doing what he's doing, if Nimmo keeps doing what, you know, it's more than just getting on base. Nimmo's shown us some power in the past 2 weeks now. He's putting balls over the fence. He had a triple yesterday, I believe. Bases clear and triple. So if though, I mean, for me right now, I look at Nimmo and Marte as the catalyst to this lineup. These two guys, if these two guys get going, I think the rest of the offense can kind of take care of itself and do what they have to do, right? You get Nimmo and Marte on base. Hopefully Lindor does something, right? I mean, that's a topic, I guess, for at some point. And then that applies pressure to the opposing, to Michael Wacha, when Alonso and Beatty come to the plate. Those are two guys that hit the ball hard. They have the potential to put the ball out of the park. And if they don't, Alvarez might just do it. So what do I want to see? I want to see the momentum continue. I want to see some consistency. And if I'm looking for 2 wins in this series, I'm looking at tonight. And I would really love to see this team win Sunday. Not only because I'm going to the game, but it's Doc Gooden Day, right? They're retiring his number. And, you know, that's a guy, if I could just get into that a little bit, I mean, that's a guy that was so important to that 86 team, him and Darryl and Keith and all those guys. And Doc has had a rough past. We all know that, but was a phenomenal pitcher. Top 3 in franchise history. I mean, you could argue maybe he's the best, maybe Tom, maybe Jake, who knows? But the fact of the matter is, he's one of the greatest to ever put on this uniform. And what Steve Cohen is consistently doing, I mean, top to bottom, the way he has structured this organization, taking guys from his hedge fund at .72 and employing them to improve the Mets. You know, trying to do a quick rebuild and buying players, that didn't work. And what did he do? He didn't double down, right? Because a lot of people, they double down on their mistakes. Steve didn't do that. He cut ties immediately and rebuilt the farm system. And now what does Steve do? What is Steve Cohen doing? He's retiring guys' numbers that should have been retired years ago. Keith Hernandez has been in this booth since I don't even know, in 4th grade. He was so important, that 86 team. For some reason, the Wilpons couldn't stand him. Finally gets his number retired. This year, they're doing Darryl and Doc. Long overdue, well deserved, and I really can't wait for that Sunday. But in terms of the Royals here, the bat's got to stay hot, and you know, whatever you do at tonight's game, this whole series, if you don't want to give Lindor that ovation, that's fine. He's a professional. I mean, the man should be playing better than where he is. Like, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. But and I'm not going to tell anybody not to boo. Like, you paid for the ticket, you're paying the $18 a beer, so do whatever the fuck you want. But maybe the Trey Turner treatment does lift this guy up. I mean, anything at this point, right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, Chris.
I'm gonna pick up right where you left off. Like, it's a shame to see this fan base on X. I tweeted something out earlier today about just like the overall conversations that are being had, whether you need to boo or cheer on Lindor. Listen, these guys as a collective unit, it's not all about Lindor, it's not all about Alonso, it's a collective unit, right? Like, this is a team that we're cheering on. They're coming off of a huge series win in Atlanta. What are we doing? What is this conversation? Let's cheer on this team. What is with the bad vibes? Like, I don't understand it at all. Like, I'm not sitting here sulking because Francisco Lindor is not even batting 100 on the season yet. Like, what are we doing? Let's get a grip. First of all. Second of all, to answer your point, Rob, no, before I answer that point, Matt, absolutely great job calling out what Sunday's events are going to be. Doc Gooden, obviously Keith Hernandez
And
coming
get
up
there
soon
early.
too.
If you're going to that game,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, Chris. Get there by 1 o'clock. Be in your seat by 1 o'clock. The lines are going to be long. I mean, take the train early. Get out of your car early because those lines. Like, I remember the Keith game. It was like we got like a season ticket entrance an hour ahead of people, and it was still a 45-minute wait. So get there early. Sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
No, you're good. It's great events that are happening, but yeah, no, I agree with you. I met Doc Gooden a couple of years ago. Great guy, fantastic guy. Definitely like one of the all-time great Mets. Like, definitely deserves this and has been long overdue. So no, seriously though, please support Francisco Lindor. The stuff that we've been seeing on social media about what his wife and obviously his family has had to endure from just bitter people overall is absolutely ridiculous. So that there's no place for that whatsoever. I can't like do this stream and not call that out because that's just absolutely ridiculous. And there's no place for that, no matter if the guy stinks, no matter if he's performing well, no matter if you like the guy, don't like the guy, doesn't matter. You can't do that. Unacceptable. One name also to sort of move this along, Jeff McNeil. Shout out to Jeff McNeil. I want to just say shout out to Jeff McNeil. Hell of a series against the Braves. Let's clap it up for Jeff McNeil. That's what we need. And he is one of my focal points in this series, along with Francisco Lindor. Those two bats. One's at the top of the lineup at the 3 spot, and one's towards the bottom at the 7 spot. Both have to do their jobs offensively this series for the offense to keep rolling in each half of the lineup. To answer your question, Rob, in short, Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil are my 2 X factors. We could talk about DJ Stewart. I know Rob asked me earlier in the chat about Harrison Bader. Do I want to see Tyrone Taylor over Harrison Bader? Yes, absolutely. Do I understand or even like why we're seeing Harrison Bader? No. At the end of the day, the 2 guys I'm looking at this series is Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil to propel this offense. Brandon Nimmo has been doing a hell of a job. Francisco Alvarez has been doing a hell of a job, and so has Brett Beatty. You could even lump in Pete Alonso to one of the key factors here because he's been slumping a little bit. But Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil, those are my 2 guys.
Yeah, and that's good. 2 guys that are big X factors here. If those 2 get going, especially at home, the fans are going to go crazy because Jeff McNeil, as much as I, get on him, he's a guy that fans like. Fans love him a lot. Like, every time we talk about trading him, people go nuts on X, like it's the end of the world. And Lindor, the family thing is just ridiculous. We all know that. If you want to go to the game and boo him to the heavens, fine. He's a professional. He can deal with it. I don't expect Met fans to give him a standing ovation. We don't have to do what Philly did with Turner. I don't care about that. If you think you deserve a standing ovation, what you're doing right now, then you got worse things to think about at the plate than worry about fans giving you an ovation. Even though if they do it, great. That's cool. But you can't continue to struggle and then say it's everything else. It's the fans, it's this, it's that. Even though Lindor historically is a slow performer in April. We all know that. If you look at his numbers in April, even with Cleveland, it wasn't very good. He starts to pick it up when it gets warmer. And that's been a thing that's been his whole career. I know it's really bad right now, but that's just the type of player he is. He picks it up in May, June, July. Again, man, I'm sorry.
No, I wanted to ask you, Rob, because I like two things with Lindor here. Like this is the shit I'll never understand with. Well, I understand why with Mets fans, and it's because Lindor's making money. Like if Lindor was like Brett Beatty's age or something, nobody would give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
but I just don't understand. I don't understand two things. I don't understand why there can't be a middle ground with Francisco Lindor. Like he is the one probably most polarizing player the Mets have had on their team since I don't know how long. And people either love him and he could do no wrong, or people hate him and no matter what he does, it's never good enough because he doesn't have a high batting average.
Yep.
Like, I don't understand why we just can't look at him as like he's a tremendous fielder. He does this every year where he doesn't hit in April. And then he picks it up, as you said, Rob, once the weather gets warmer. Like Lindor has the opportunity to totally take games over. We saw him do it in the Subway Series in 21. Like the guy, the bigger the moment, I don't think that really affects him because you see him strike out in the first inning, you see him strike out in the ninth inning. It really doesn't, like the magnitude of the moment doesn't matter with him. I don't think it's pressure. It's just he's streaky. That's what Francisco is. And I just don't understand why we can't just be like, yeah, that's Francisco. He's not the best player in the league at this point. We'll never really be in that conversation, and that's okay. Like just be like just accept him for what he is. He's a damn good baseball player that goes on his streaks. Now my only issue with when Lindor goes through these slumps is why do we have to bat him second or third in the lineup? That's my only complaint. That is my only complaint. When he's going through these slumps, why is it a crazy thing? And I don't know if it's in his contract. I remember when he was traded here that there was some agreement that he wanted to bat second or third every day, whatever. But like when you were kind of at this point, let's be honest, when you're a liability at the plate, it's really not fair to the rest of the lineup that you're batting second and third. It's not. And that doesn't mean I want him benched. I never want to see him benched because even if the guy is batting 0, we need that glove. We need that glove out there. He is a wizard in the field. There's no doubt about it. But to me, I feel like there are other guys that could be batting up that high. And I just think it's like demoralizing when tonight, like Nimmo will get a single and maybe Marte strikes out or something, and then Lindor hits into a double play. And you're like, we knew this was going to happen. Why was he batting second or third? Like, and it doesn't mean I don't believe in him. It's just right now, while you're batting under 100, maybe go back to the bottom of the lineup until you pick yourself back up again. Is that crazy? What do you guys think?
No, I agree with you with that. Like, I never understood that. Like, I don't think anybody should be, stuck in a position in a lineup. I think if you're struggling, you're hurting the top of the lineup. Like, if you take Lindor out of there and say put Beatty in the third spot and maybe Alvarez in the fifth spot, maybe bat Lindor sixth. Give him a little bit of a chance, to be in that last part of the lineup. Not a lot of pressure on him. And let the guys that are doing well in the top of the lineup, do some damage so it doesn't have to fall all on him. Because, you already said it, Matt. He's going to end up having people on base, and he's either going to strike out, hit into a double play. You're going to hit a boo birds, and it's going to be a trickle-down effect the rest of the game. And then it starts the next game as well, especially if the Mets don't win. The thing with Lindor, what annoys me about Met fans, and I know it's about the money in the contract, I call out Met fans enough on X, on YouTube. It doesn't matter. Chris knows this. People hate me when I say this. When Alonso gets his contract from the Mets and it's $25+ million and making a ton of money, keep that same energy that you get on Lindor with when Pete Alonso gets his big payday. Because when he goes on his big struggle, which he's another one, Alonso too, where he looks lost at the plate for a week and a half, maybe 2, keep that same energy. And I want to hear boo birds. I want to hear people get on X and get on Alonso. I'm not talking about his family. Get on Alonso as a player. Get on him as well, because the problem with it's the biggest problem with Met fans that I can't stand. I don't care if he's homegrown or not.
It's the homegrown thing. It's the homegrown. And it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Look, yeah, it is.
You're wearing the laundry. What's the difference?
Correct. I root for the laundry. People are like, oh, I'm going to stop being Met fans if Alonso's not a Met. Bullshit. Okay, because people said that with DeGrom, and I see people that talked about if DeGrom's not a Met, I'm not a Met fan, but yet I see him at Citi Field on opening day. Listen, you root for the laundry. Do we want a homegrown that can stay his whole career? Of course we do. Of course, it's nostalgia. It's great. But you know what? You know what I want to do? I want to win. At the end of the day, it doesn't have players' names on that trophy. It has the Mets on that trophy. That's what I want. And you can love the player all you want, but keep the same negative energy with Lindor when Alonso gets his big payday, or whoever gets a big payday, if it's Beatty or Alvarez, when they struggle, I want to hear the same energy, because that annoys me. Because I'm not saying don't love Alonso. I know why people are all over Alonso, and you can't say bad things about Alonso or this and that. Oh, he's our best player. Technically, he's not our best player. You know, if you really look at it, I look at all aspects of the game, not just how many home runs you hit. You know, that's a big thing in baseball now. Like, an overall player is a guy like Francisco Lindor, right? He'll give you 25 to 30 home runs, 90 RBIs. He'll bat you 250, 260, and he'll give you Gold Glove defense. Pete Alonso, the defense can be a little suspect every now and then. Like in that Atlanta series, the way he stepped to catch a ball and didn't stretch and stretched the wrong way, he's quirky in that aspect. Again, he's got a lot better when he first came up. But the fact of the matter is, I want that same energy. But let's stop with the negativity, because, you know, Met fans we always love negative somewhere. But I just like to see the same energy for all players, regardless of if they're homegrown or not, if they make more money.
And the only reason Lindor has not gotten a Gold Glove, I firmly believe, is because of his contract and his batting average. Because we all know if he was hitting 295 with like a 9-something OPS, he would have gotten 2 Gold Gloves already. Because you cannot tell me that there are that in the past, since he's gotten here, in the past 3 seasons, there has been 3 better defensive shortstops. There hasn't. Like, you have to be able to separate the two things. All right, you could call out Lindor at the plate all you want, and you know what? Most times you're right. He has not lived up to his contract in terms of what he's done at the plate since he's gotten here. I'll agree with you, but me personally, man, I don't remember the last time I've seen a shortstop play this good defense this consistently for this.
Stevie Mack makes a great point. Juan Soto has a Gold Glove, and that's just absolutely ridiculous. So I agree with you, Stevie. Absolutely.
Anthony Volpe has a Gold Glove.
And I don't mean to cut you guys off of the whole Lindor Pete Alonso talk, but we do have first pitch in 9 minutes, and I want to talk about the guy that we're going to be seeing directly today on the mound, and that is Luis Severino. Last time out, Luis Severino pitched his ass off to me personally. He encountered one disastrous inning because of a misplayed ball by Tyrone Taylor, and also an error from Jeff McNeil that allowed the inning to extend. 2 runs given up in total over 5 innings with 7 strikeouts. One of those runs were unearned for Luis Severino. The amount of not hate, but like the amount of, I guess, bashing that Luis Severino got from the Mets fan base after that disastrous inning was absolutely ridiculous. Luis Severino had a horrible first outing, but that outing against Cincinnati, albeit he did have a couple of walks, he gave a couple of walks, I understand that. He pitched his ass off in the face of adversity, with some not so good defense behind him. So I'm really curious to see how he bounces back. Obviously, that was on the road, but he got smacked around a little bit against the Brewers at home. How does he respond back at home here, Citi Field, against a pretty decent damn team in the Kansas City Royals? That veteran presence mixed in with that young presence. I want to see what Luis Severino does today. And Michael Wacha has been putting together great seasons back-to-back here. And we all know, like you said, Rob, at the top of the stream, how good of a veteran that he has been against the Mets. So I really want to see this pitching matchup. It's actually very curious to me how Luis Severino goes about today's start.
Sevy has been subject to some awful defense his past 2 outings. I mean, I'll give him that. Like, he hasn't looked great, but after those bad innings where there were errors, I mean, because if you look at his stat line, yes, he's got some earned runs, but he's got like 3 or 4 unearned runs. Yeah, that don't count against him, but he's got 3 or 4 unearned runs on him so far this season. I mean, after those innings, he really settles down. So this is a guy, to me, I think hopefully the end of the month can really hit his stride. The only thing I ask, and I ask this of all the Mets starters, because really none of them have done it, let's get through the sixth inning. I mean,
Yeah.
let's get through the sixth because we can't continue to tax this bullpen.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with you. Like it would be nice. Like I would hope Luis Severino, because he has this stuff, and we know Met fans can't wait to get on him when he's bad because he's a former Yankee. It's more because of that than him probably being bad. But he's been, like you said, Matt, he's been pretty good. Like if you look at his overall stat line, it's not bad. And the defense hasn't been good. I mean, Zach Short made a big error in one of his starts that really hurt. That I think led to 2 unearned runs. Like there was a lot of things that went on defensively and that was when the Mets were going through it through their first 6-7 games of the season. So I want to see Luis Severino. I want to see more strikeouts, to be honest with you. Like he got too good of stuff to have a high pitch count like he has in the 5th inning and get knocked out of games. And we have to use, basically our entire bullpen to get through a game. We got to save our bullpen a little bit, as Matt said. But Chris, I wanted to ask you one thing before we got a couple minutes before the game starts. Do you like the lineup tonight?
Yeah, I like the lineup tonight, and obviously they're playing righty lefty with DJ Stewart, which is fine, whatever. The only thing I can call out here is Harrison Bader. Like, I don't know why he's playing over Tyrone Taylor, to be honest with you. I prefer Tyrone Taylor, but beggars can't be choosers. Ninth hitter in the lineup. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Harrison Bader. Everybody on this channel that knows me, you can attest that I'm not a big fan of Harrison Bader because this guy's bat stinks. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. His bat stinks. Regardless of what he brings defensively, his bat's just not good. But nonetheless, I do like the lineup construction. I really do like confidence, and not even in this game, but over the last couple of games, Carlos Mendoza has not hesitated to bat Brett Beatty in the 5th spot, has not hesitated to bat Francisco Alvarez cleanup. Like he's entrusting these young guys and Brett Beatty and Francisco Alvarez in those key spots in the lineup. And that is what I love. Obviously, we have to play the waiting game here with JD Martinez, but I do like the lineup tonight. I'm not going to complain about it.
I was going to say, you know what? Listen, Chris, I guess I'm biased because I personally have always loved Harrison Bader. He was a Met killer when he was in St. Louis. So maybe that's where it comes from, or at least I feel like he's a Mets killer because every time I turned on the Mets when they were playing the fucking Cardinals, this fucking guy was catching everything and putting balls over the fence. To wrap it up, I think if you're an offense if they could keep doing what they just did in Cincy and Atlanta, I don't care if Bader strikes out every time because he's a patrolman out there in center. There's few that gets past him. What gets past him? A ball he dives for that he probably wouldn't have gotten anyway. I mean, personally, I love him. I love his arm. He is, to me, in the field, he is a younger version of Starling Marte. He's a fantastic fielder. And if your offense is producing, that bat, Bader's bat doesn't look so bad if DJ Stewart continues to do what he's doing. And Nimmo and McNeil, if all these guys are producing, you could afford a strikeout from Bader. If he's playing Gold Glove defense out there, which for the most part, he really is. Go ahead, Chris.
All I'll say is I'll take the trade-off with the glove from Harrison Bader to Tyrone Taylor to get the increased bat with Tyrone Taylor. That's all I'll say. Tyrone Taylor's no slouch in the outfield. I understand how great Bader is. Obviously, like Gold Glove caliber. I'm not going to dispute that, but I'll take the drop-off to get the extra offense with Taylor's bat. That's my whole point. That's it.
No, it's fair. And especially knowing you could put Nimmo at center and Bader in left. I totally get that. Totally get
that. And you know what? Bader's glove is worth keeping out there. But again, Tyrone Taylor, I like him in the lineup. But Bader's a gamer. He's going 100 miles an hour all the time. Like you never see him not hustling, or anything like that. Like if he's striking out and just not performing well, like not hustling, he's always a gamer. But you know what? I'll tell you right now, when there's a big game in the postseason, Bader is going to be there for the Mets. I'm telling you that right now because he did it with the Yankees. He did it with the Cardinals. He was the best player on the Yankees a couple of years ago when the Yankees traded for him in the postseason. The guy has clutch numbers in big spots. So Bader right now struggling, and can he stop trying to take a single into a double? Stay on first base.
Yeah,
please. You're killing us here. My God.
But Rob, by that time, you're talking October. by that time, I don't think we'll be talking about Bader. I think we might be talking about Drew Gilbert. I think by that time,
is he okay? Because I know he heard the injury with the leg. He was okay, right? Because I haven't really.
I didn't even know he got hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt. I don't know how.
Okay.
I think it's okay. Like I think it was like a strain or something like that. But look, if we see Gilbert, I'm okay with it. Like I don't think we're going to see any other young. One guy I think we're going to see is Luisano Acuna, because I think McNeil is one step away from getting traded at the deadline, regardless if the Mets are in it or not. To be quite honest with you.
Hey, Rob.
Even though
he's got value, 100%.
Hey, Rob, you know who's killing it in the minor leagues right now that we're both a fan of, and that he's been going a little bit under the radar, but he's killing it. He's killing it in Double A right now. You know who? You know who I'm talking about?
never heard of the guy.
He who shall not be named. No, I guess I'll keep his name quiet here until we get some more sample size on him. But keep an eye out on him. I'm gonna just say that right now.
Are you
Everybody
guys talking about a
who knows this
pitcher or no?
podcast.
You're not
Who?
talking about a. Are you talking about a pitcher?
No, we're talking about an outfielder.
Okay.
Yeah.
I if we're talking about kids that might come up, I really, I mean, especially if Hauser keeps looking the way he's looking, one of Christian Scott or Dom Hamill, or one of those guys will be up here before Memorial Day. If Hauser
That should be a
continues.
talking point, by the way.
And by the way, Jose Buto is pitching Sunday. I don't know if you guys saw
Yes,
that.
Jose
So-
Buto season. I'm all for it. That's what I was gonna say. Let's go.
Dude, let this fucking kid pitch once every 5 days. You have no reason not to. You have no Senga right now. Like, he came out and he struggled a little bit in that first outing, but like he said, just like Sevy, he settled down, and he's a young kid. And you know what? None of our starters are getting to the sixth anyway. So what the fuck is the difference? Let this kid come out. Let's use this year. I mean, I say this to every Met fan. Let's use this year to play all the young kids we can. If we get to the playoffs, great. But let's see where the investments need to be in 2025. Yeah. That's what I want. That's all I want out of this year.
All right, guys. So the game's about to start. Matt, final thoughts. Let everybody know about your channel, and what is the expectation in this series for the Mets? You think they're gonna take 2 out of 3, or you think they're gonna struggle here?
I think they're gonna come out hot tonight. I think are they wearing black? No, they're wearing white. I thought they're gonna wear black tonight.
They're gonna wear black too. What the hell?
You know what? Hot take. I think I like these new black jerseys more than I like any of the black jerseys they've worn before. And I never thought I would say that. But I really like the blue and orange outlining. I think the Mets take 2 out of 3, and I'm excited to see Jose Buto live on Sunday. I'm excited for that. If I'm excited for anything, that's
see if he pitches like Doc, huh?
Yeah, little gas.
Absolutely.
But thank you guys for having
where
me.
your channol is and
yes.
Find you. I'm sorry.
Sorry
about
on
that.
YouTube, Sunny Days at Sunny Days Media 516, and on Twitter at Flushing Sunny 41. We don't have an Instagram account yet. I have had a lot going on. We've had some home improvement issues we've been dealing with here at Casa de Pasque. So my apologies, but we're going to be back on YouTube again this week. Rob and Chris, thank you guys very much. This was a lot of fun. I would love to do this again. So anytime you guys want me, you got me.
Absolutely. Chris, what do you got, buddy? Final thoughts.
Nothing. I got nothing. No expectations for this series. I'm keeping no expectations for the Mets. I'm not going to predict the score. I'm not going to predict the series outcome.
Nope.
I want to see good baseball. Severino is off to a good start, getting the first out here. Keep this up. Let's go Mets. I appreciate it. Everybody subscribe not only to my channel at CPNY Sports, but also if you somehow haven't subscribed to the man up top in Rob, make sure you do so. And the guy right over here, Flushing Sunny 516. It's
no. Flushing Sunny 41 is Twitter.
Yes.
At Sunny Days Media 516.
And check out my video that I dropped earlier today doing a synopsis of the last 2 series. Let's go Mets. As always, get hype. Let's get hype.
Get hyped. Get hyped.
Let's go. That's Matt. That's CP. I'm talking Mets and Rob. The Amazing Mets pregame show. Another one in the books. Let's go Mets. Let's take the series against the Royals. Let's have a great homestand, guys. As always, Mets fans, let's go Mets. Have a great night. See you next time, guys. Matt, CP, have a great night, guys.
Let's go Mets, baby.